This video covers the last 4 full moon and new moon transits of the new year. Hello loves, welcome back to my channel. This is the With Love Cole YouTube channel, and here you'll find tons of videos on wellness, motherhood, human design, life with my family, and so much more. I'm a 3/5 self-projected projector, and I share human design from the lived experience. So come along with me, as well as try out my sea moss gel at my sea moss shop, Cole Apothecary at withlovecole.com, and of course stay in touch on all platforms. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a minute since I've made a video, and that is because life has been lifing, and I figured that means that life has been lifing not just for me, but a lot of you guys as well. So it took me a minute to make this video, but it was because I wanted to give it the same time and attention as I give all the things I create. And I know that as we're going into this new year, it's all about intention and planning and focusing on our long-term goals. So I figured this is a perfect time to do these videos and cover all the new moon transits going back to October 28th. The last video I made, the last video I was supposed to make was the full moon in Taurus video for October 28th. And around that time, my partner and I found out that a past coworker of his had passed away from suicide. And it just really was a little airy because at the time I had just created my graphics on IG, and I thought that he posted a really cool picture of his eye and inner eye. He went to the doctor and shared this really dope picture, and I shared it and I called it Seeing the Oneness. So when we found out that he took his life a few days later, it just was really unfortunate and sad. And as someone who hasn't really dealt with death and death close to me, or literally even just meeting someone and then passing away, it was kind of just a moment of realizing priorities and things that we should focus on, while we are here in our bodies and in the present. So with all that being said, I want to talk about that, and I will make a video for the full moon in Taurus, but I really kind of just wanted to do this video as a little coverage of how I ended up breaking it into a 4-part breakdown covering the transits from the full moon in Taurus through to the full moon in Cancer 2 months later. So yes, so let's hop into the first part 1. So part 1 is the new moon in Scorpio, and I'll be reading from my notes since I'm covering a lot. Basically, these are virtual videos covering the information I put in my IG posts going over the new moon and full moon energy readings that I do that cover the human design transits as well as the astrological transits. So let's cover the new moon in Scorpio. So the energy reading, I wrote, consciousness chooses no side. It only promotes what is best for the evolution of humanity. Fear is a vibration that permeates our plane, and the world is seeing more than ever how it affects every single being in the planet. When we operate in fear, we begin to attract the very nature and frequency of what we do not want in our lives. This new moon is an opening to the transmutative energy, our collective reflection. How can we take the lemons of the earthly life and make it heavenly lemonade? Often we villanize the people who can do this best because it's a sign of a complete cognitive dissonance to the injustices of the world. Understanding we all play a role in the expansion of awareness, we can be kinder and more compassionate to ourselves, allowing joy to be actively speaking on the disparity of love and peace in the world. So this was really going back to the idea that with what's going on in the world, with the war and between Israel and Palestine, and I don't even want to call it a war, it's a genocide at this point. It's just the frustration of knowing that we have two different realities happening at the same time, that we can be at home, one group can be at home comfortably eating, going places, enjoying life without the fear that bombs are being dropped on their head, and while another group of people is being pillaged and like going days without food and getting taken out from underneath the rubble. It's like a whole different reality. And here it's coming down to, how do we change this? How, as a society and a collective, do we do things differently to create a different reality? So that is what the transit of the new moon in Scorpio that happened around November 13th is really diving into, the energy that we need to get out of this reality, or this perception of good and bad, and really just focus on what is, and how do we stop what shouldn't be happening and create more of what should be happening. So now part 2, and this is the full moon in Gemini that happens on November 28th. And here it is turning a new leaf. As we saw the breakdown and all the things that were going on in the world at the moment, and still some of it is still unfolding, we're starting to somewhat have a sense of hope, because we see people are standing up and speaking out about things, and just collectively showing a sense of care and empathy and a desire for change. So here's what I wrote as the energy reading for the full moon in Gemini. So it says, integrating your introvert self with a part of you that enjoys travel, socializing with others, and community will be a major theme at this time. Everything in life draws you back to yourself as a reminder of who you are and who you are not. Learning what to identify with deeply and what to leave behind can help us create an environment around us that reflects our happiest state of being. Okay, so choosing to bring in a state of joy more regularly will have you shifting realities quicker than you may feel you can keep up with at a time, but that's the beauty of being on the leading edge of your desires. So here it's now, okay, how do we focus on being idealistic? Because the full moon in Gemini happened during Sagittarius season. So this was all about, okay, how can we put into form through our ideas? Because we know that Gemini is all about movement and action and ideas and conceptualizing and just being intellectual. And then Sagittarius is also action oriented. It's a fire sign, and it's very self-starting, but also it comes with this energy of luck, abundance, and expansion. So how can we expand on the things that we do enjoy to now help shift the reality that we want to create? So we can't necessarily, if we're in a position that we can't necessarily change what's going on around us, but we can actively change our daily decisions. It can help us now form and create what we want to see, in turn, taking other things out of our vortex. So now for part 3, and I called part 3 laissez-faire, which means let do. And this really is about the idea of self-government. And this energy is the new moon in Sagittarius that happened after the full moon in Gemini in Sagittarius season. So let's see what I wrote. And as I share with you guys my reflection and energy reading on this transit. So let do. Every being is experiencing a major upgrade in awareness and self-expression. Expression of life can be the catalyst for change that takes us to greater heights and new horizons. Balancing joy and the deep purpose of being human with fulfilling work is a major life theme this month. Connect with your senses and others to help drop into your physical body through movement, travel, and deep introspection and exploration. Having self-compassion will lead to the heart-opening expansions that help you see the beauty of all life. So here it's really us realizing our being. So this the Sagittarius zodiac sign is based off the animal that is used to represent Sagittarius is the centaur, and the centaur is half man, half horse. And similarly, with the energy of let do, it's kind of like this unbridled freedom that you can have in playing and being yourself and governing yourself. And this taps into the energy of safety, a bit that we're going to go into for the full moon in Cancer that comes up after this. But this is really about, with this new awareness, how do I stay in my joy and how do I continue to create and be happy? So now for part four. Part four is the full moon in Cancer, and I'm a Cancer rising, so I definitely felt this energy deeply, and this energy also fell around like holiday Christmas time. So I'm at home, I'm also with my family, it's colder out, so I'm hermited. So yes, I decided to call this part the home within because I felt like the energy was now, okay, literally the last I would say from Thanksgiving season onward on social media, it felt like just a flood of more information. And I think because of the information that was emerging around that time, of the, I want to say, new moon in Sagittarius, as I'm covering like multiple moon transits at once, around that time, there were, videos released from GWST of new things that they're seeing in the world. And I think a new picture of Saturn was shown. So it's like all these amazing things are happening that's raising consciousness because we're being more aware of like what is happening in our planet. And of course, this is going to affect us on a cellular level. And that is why for this full moon, in Cancer, not only did I call it the home within, but also the great I am, because when we think of our DNA and our natal charts and astrology and human design, all of these topics that are becoming more and more and more present, it's all been about like, how do we get to know ourselves better? How do we dive deeper into our soul's purpose? So here's what I wrote for the energy reading for the full moon in Cancer. It says, it's time to worship yourself. You've come to Earth ready and deserving of the love you give everyone else. As we pass the winter solstice, which is 12/21, the shortest day of the year, and approach the new year, numerical year, contemplate on the person you become this year. Who were you on January 1st and what has changed? What hasn't changed at all? And like sometimes we do want to constantly change, right? But then there's aspects of ourselves that's perfect and it's part of our design. And that's like, how do we, like this is an analysis of like, maybe what are those aspects and characteristics of me that haven't changed and so true to me that, I should actually amplify. So neutrinos, let's talk a little bit about this. So this definition is from energy.gov. And this is what neutrinos are. Neutrinos are the most abundant particle that have mass in the universe. Every atomic nuclei come together like in the sun or break apart like in a nuclear reactor. They produce neutrinos. Even a banana emits neutrinos. They come from the natural radioactivity of the potassium in the fruit. So our sun is a neutrino factory. It makes tons and tons of neutrinos, and this emission changes us and our very being on a cellular level. So it's super, super impactful. In 2012, we went through a period that's known in the gene keys as harmonic resonance. I highly recommend looking it up. At this time, we had a neutrino activation, and this has impacted the world in a very unique way. It literally shifted the direction we were moving as a planet. So if you think back to that time, and as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, and now Pluto is in Aquarius, we can really see like, where are we going and where have we been? All right, y'all, so Indy woke up and wanted to get a little feeding before going back to sleep. So I got it real quickly for that. But to finish this video off, I'm going to talk about the journey of the energies. The new moon in Scorpio, and we do see a breakdown of the energy of just like kind of the world. We kind of felt hopeless, but then there was also this spirit of within this feeling of hopelessness, how can we emerge and come together and be in community and speak up or stand up for ourselves and advocate for others as well. And then from there, we move into the energy of the full moon in Gemini, you know, moving from that despair and hopelessness to now being objective and looking forward to new beginnings and new opportunities. And here we see that it is a time of introspection and inwardness as we, you know, kind of allow ourselves to grieve and just move through the energy we were feeling in the previous transit. And then from there, we come into the new moon in Sagittarius, which is having us step into, you know, being social and getting into the holiday spirit and being around others and being open-minded and finding community in people who may have very unique or different beliefs from us. And then finally, now knowing all of this, coming back to ourselves and saying, how do I identify now in the world? How have I changed? How have I gotten better or worse, or, you know, grown, expanded, as this is, you know, moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn season. So now this video will be the video that is before the new moon in Capricorn. The new moon in Capricorn is the first new moon of the new year in 2024. So I feel like we kind of went through a lot at the end of this last year, and the new moon in Capricorn is gonna come and be like, all right, let's begin. Let's, you know, plan for the future, for a more promising future. So I love you guys. Know that this video is a timeless video, and it's just kind of an energy overview of the end of the year and a reflection of how we can see how these energies played out, know what we might have experienced as we went through these transits. And I'm also going to make a video on each of these transits that you guys are welcome to check out and watch. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. If you made it to the end, comment below a brown heart and subscribe to my channel.